This year has been unbelievably tough for Wenzhou. I estimate that by the end of this month, tens of thousands of workers will lose their jobs. Our factory is no exception. Right now, we only work in the mornings, rest in the afternoons, and there's nothing happening at night. Look at these empty sewing machines. They're just sitting there. Normally, this time of year, the factory will be buzzing with activity, working overtime late into the night with so many orders we couldn't keep up.
你不知道现在的工厂有多缺订单。
You have no idea how dire the situation is for factories right now. Over 90% of Wenzhou's shoe factories are desperate for orders, barely holding on, while more than 80% are on the brink of shutting down entirely. Since Southeast Asia reopened, many orders have been redirected there. Out of Wenzhou's 1,000 shoe factories, fewer than 50 are managing to stay afloat, let alone thrive. A young worker at a Wenzhou shoe factory shared a video, saying he hasn't worked in days.
完了，家人们，宝宝们。
It's over. My friends, this is serious. Look at the workshop, completely empty. No workers, no goods, nothing at all. I haven't worked for days, and I haven't even updated my videos. What do I do now? For those of you out there job hunting, look at this. Where can you even find work? Are you just coming here to starve? How are we supposed to live like this? There's no work. What are we supposed to do? Wenzhou City has long been a cornerstone of China's manufacturing industry, renowned in particular for its shoe production. Often referred to as the shoe capital of China, Wenzhou once produced 1/7 of the world's supply of women's shoes. However, in recent years, a significant portion of manufacturing orders has shifted to Southeast Asian countries as supply chains moved abroad. Domestically, weak consumer demand has compounded the challenges for factories. Even those that manage to secure orders face razor-thin margins due to intense competition within the industry. As a result, many factories are struggling to stay afloat, with yet another wave of closures anticipated by the end of the year.
The past 2 years have been really tough for Wenzhou businesses, especially in manufacturing. There are so many shoe factories here, and working 4 days a week is already considered lucky. As for brick-and-mortar stores, their business has been completely wrecked by e-commerce. Even when we manage to get live streaming to sell shoes, they say they will take 5,000 pairs and then return 1,000. The profits don't even cover the labor costs.
As this factory owner observed, the decline in consumer spending has led to the widespread closure of physical stores, significantly affecting factory orders. Many place their hopes on e-commerce live streaming as a potential source of orders. However, the extraordinary high return rates for women's clothing and shoes have become a final blow for numerous factories. Honestly, it's shocking how quickly a factory can shut down. I visited one today, and I heard that the factory next door went out of business just 2 days ago. Now, people are showing up to demand their money. We often assume shoe factory owners are wealthy, right? But you have no idea how many factories in Wenzhou have gone under recently. These factories were producing shoes daily, so how does one collapse overnight? The main reason is a cash flow crisis. It's really tough to make a living in Wenzhou these days. I've visited dozens of factories recently to see how things are going, and it's honestly bleak. Most factories only have a few scattered workers, and there are barely any orders. Even when orders come in, they're reluctant to take them because they can't turn a profit. Wenzhou's model is all about selling cheap and in large volumes, but many of these orders fall through before they're even completed. This year alone, more than 100 factories in Wenzhou have gone under. These factories rely on low-price orders to stay afloat, but the moment those orders dry up and they lose control over pricing, they're forced to shut down. Burdened with massive debts, some factory owners have fled, leaving workers jobless overnight, and often without months of unpaid wages. Many of these displaced migrant workers are left sleeping on the streets, a sight that is both heartbreaking and grim. This YouTuber discovered that downtown Wenzhou has unexpectedly become a gathering spot for homeless people. Are you not going home for the new year? Can't afford to. Are you trying to find work here? Have you found any? Very tough. I'm still looking. It's been really hard to find work this year. This year is the hardest it's ever been. Industry insiders point out that Wenzhou's shoe factories are plagued by cutthroat competition. For example, when a brand offers a production price of 100 yuan per pair of shoes, Factory A might reject the deal, but Factory B may accept it for 90 yuan. Factory A then struggles even more without the order. Brands realize they could further reduce costs, offering 90 yuan as a new standard. To secure the next order, Factory A lowers its price to 85 yuan, forcing Factory B to underbid even further. Over time, this relentless undercutting drives the production price of the same pair of shoes down to just 35 yuan within a year. At such rates, there is no profit left. Factories are forced to cut costs by laying off workers and switching to cheaper, lower quality materials. This dynamic explains why high quality goods are becoming rare, replaced by low-end products commonly found on platforms like Pinduoduo. Even with extreme cost cutting, there's a limit, and when all factories engage in this destructive race to the bottom, the inevitable result is collective collapse. This issue extends beyond shoe factories to garment factories and other traditional manufacturing sectors. Weak domestic demand over capacity and a lack of export orders have contributed to the steady decline of China's traditional manufacturing industries. The heyday of China as the world's factory is now a distant memory. Haining City in Zhejiang Province, another major clothing manufacturing hub, is facing similar challenges. Known for its large apparel factories and homegrown brands, the region has seen a wave of closures as orders dry up, mirroring the struggles of Wenzhou's shoe industry. A while back, I told you that if winter clothing sales didn't improve by November, there'd be a massive wave of business closures, with a third of people giving up entirely. Many didn't believe me then, but now it's not just me worrying. I'm not the only one talking about this. Just look around. Even the fashion bloggers are saying the same thing. This YouTuber is the owner of a clothing factory in Haining. Recently, he posted another video saying that half the people in Haining's clothing industry are losing money. Let's talk about something everyone's curious about. How many people in the clothing business are actually making money this year? How many are breaking even? And how many are losing money? Here's my rough estimate based on what I've seen. In Haining, where we focus on high-end products, out of 100 people, only about 5 are making money. Another 45 are breaking even, while the remaining 50 are losing money. And those 5 who are turning a profit, they're earning very little, much less than previous years. The 45 breaking even are just covering their basic costs. As for the 50 losing money, they're truly in the red. In a market like this, it's no surprise that half the people are struggling. That's roughly the situation. In Puyuan, a small town in Jiaxing City, Zhejiang Province, the situation is equally grim. Renowned as a global hub for wool sweater production and wholesale, Puyuan accounts for over 70% of China's wool sweater sales. Despite its status as a manufacturing powerhouse, the town is facing a severe downturn in the industry. In November alone, 26 clothing factories in Puyuan closed their doors. Some provided early notices to their workers, advising them to seek other opportunities, while others abruptly announced extended breaks. Many factories that are still holding on have been unable to pay wages for months.
There are only a few people working now. This huge workshop is shutting down after today. The lights on that side are all off. It's pitch black. It's really tough. Starting tomorrow, the factory will be on a long break. And who knows when we'll be back to work. The problem is, we still haven't been paid for June's wages. What are we supposed to do about this?
As the end of the year approaches, it's a critical time for suppliers to collect payments, but also a peak period for factory closures and business owners fleeing their debts. A female worker recounted that she now sleeps near her boss's quarters, waiting for him to turn off the lights before she dares to rest. She's afraid he might sneak away during the night, leaving her unpaid. This worker, like many others, has been seeking overdue wages. Her factory owes several months' pay, but the boss has disappeared, leaving her feeling helpless and desperate.
This is the first time I've truly felt helpless as someone in a vulnerable position. They promised to pay us our wages but kept on delaying it, first to the 15th, then to the 30th, and then December 2nd, and now they're outright saying they won't pay, claiming they are restructuring. They won't even send us any updates or meet with us. I came all the way from Chongqing to demand my wages, and they still won't give them to me. It's the money I worked hard to earn, and now I can't even get that.
According to this woman, they had signed labor contracts, but the company took them back afterward, leaving her without any documentation to rely on. There are over 20 others in the same situation, mostly young people born after 2000.
They're taking advantage of us because we're young, inexperienced, and don't have any connections or support. Now they won't even show up to talk to us face to face.
In Guangzhou's Haizhu district, Chaonan New Street is a well-known gathering place for garment workers. Nearby clothing villages used to attract factory owners looking to hire workers. However, with many factories shutting down or halting operations due to a lack of orders, countless garment workers now roam the streets searching for jobs.
今天是10月15号。
Today is December 15th, and the morning market on Chaonan New Street is packed with people. You can't see where the crowd ends. They say a lot of people have gone home in recent days, but it feels like there are even more people now. This year, autumn and winter clothing sales have been sluggish, and it's dragged on until now. Because of that, many garment workers have lost their jobs and are unemployed. Every industry is oversaturated. There are more delivery drivers than orders, more taxi drivers than passengers, and more garment workers than factories need. More factories are shutting down, more shops are closing, more brick-and-mortar stores are going out of business, and more business owners are fleeing. Every industry seems to be at a turning point, and it's getting harder and harder to make money. Unemployment and debt are on the rise. Everyone needs to face reality. If you can't find work, maybe it's time to just head home for the new year.
Looking at the state of Chinese manufacturing, one cannot ignore Dongguan, once hailed as the world's factory. Recent rumors suggest that PC Partner, the world's second-largest graphic cards manufacturer, is planning to relocate its production lines from Dongguan to Indonesia. If true, this would mean the departure of yet another major manufacturer from the region, further straining Dongguan's manufacturing ecosystem. Founded in 1997 and headquartered in Hong Kong, PC Partner operates production lines in Dongguan and Nanjing. The company specializes in high-performance 3D graphics cards and motherboards. Its sub-brands, including Zotac, Inno3D, and Manly, are well known in the industry. PC Partner also produces mid to high-end GPU products for NVIDIA. However, U.S. semiconductor export restrictions to China have increasingly disrupted NVIDIA's supply chain. Following the bans on A100 and H100 GPUs, the U.S. has now restricted sales of the A800 and H800 chips, even their scaled-back versions. As a result, PC Partner has been unable to sustain production in China and has been preparing for overseas expansion. Reports confirm that PC Partner's new factory in Batam, Indonesia, began operations in early November. It has already passed production tests for RTX 5090 graphics cards, indicating that the relocation is not merely speculation, but part of an ongoing strategy. Additionally, on November 17th, PC Partner announced it would relocate its headquarters from Hong Kong to Singapore. Just 2 days prior, the company successfully listed on the SGX main board in Singapore. In recent years, many foreign manufacturing companies have moved out of Dongguan, prompted by the U.S.-China trade war. Without the support of these major firms, smaller manufacturers in the local supply chain have also faced significant challenges, amplifying the region's economic difficulties.
今天星期三。
It's Wednesday, a normal workday, and this time of day should normally be bustling. Look around, it's completely deserted. There's not a single person here. It feels like during the holidays, or more like the tomb sweeping day. This situation is heartbreaking. How did it come to this in just 3 short years? Orders are almost impossible to get now. It's the end of the month, and soon we have to pay wages for office staff, workshop workers, and warehouse employees. With the current level of business, I don't know how we'll manage to keep going. Many export factories, once thriving, are barely holding on due to a lack of orders.
这个制造业就像天气一样，一夜入冬了。
Manufacturing is just like the weather, suddenly plunged into winter overnight. It's the same for us at Ruifeng. We used to ship 7 or 8 containers a month, but now, with the end of the month approaching, we've only shipped 1. Manufacturing is just too difficult these days.
到年底了，你看我们工厂。
As the year ends, our factory has to pay all the suppliers, distribute wages, give out performance bonuses, and hand out year-end rewards, right? But without money, none of it can be done. Business is just too hard now. Manufacturing is especially tough. Without orders, so many people are out of work. I'd rather die than run a factory.
川普还没有把关税加到60%。
Trump hasn't even raised tariffs to 60%, yet we canceled tax rebates on 59 products, and for 229 other products, the rebate rate dropped from 13% to 9%. First thought coming to mind when hearing this was, how are we supposed to survive, especially here on the coast, where export-reliant businesses already depend on rebates to make a profit? For some, the profit margin doesn't even cover half the rebate. This is pushing us to the edge of a cliff.
最近这个行情啊，也是守着老客户。
These days, it's all about clinging to old customers, but there aren't many orders. Trying to get new customers, you might end up losing money just on sampling costs. Factories are running equipment worth millions, but we're only earning pennies in profit. Large orders, the fear is not being able to collect payment, and recently the sharp rise in shipping costs is delaying foreign delivery dates. I can't sleep at night worrying. What if the client rejects the products? Small orders only cover labor costs. Upgrade the equipment? There's no fund. No upgrading? There are no orders. Changing industries? There's no direction. Maintaining the status quo? There's no profit. Shutting down? That's out of the question. Not only would it be embarrassing, but it would also mean officially stepping into a life of debt. Fellow business owners, do any of you feel the same?
In Jiangsu province, Kunshan, another manufacturing powerhouse in the Yangtze River Delta, is facing similar challenges. Kushan's proximity to Shanghai once made it a magnet for domestic and foreign investment. For years, it was one of China's most important manufacturing hubs. Now, Kushan is undergoing a painful industrial transformation, much like other manufacturing cities. Kushan might soon face a downturn even worse than Dongguan's. Once regarded as a bellwether of China's economy, Kushan is now struggling with industrial transformation. Meanwhile, large-scale, labor-intensive factories are relocating, causing the city's industrial chain to collapse rapidly and plunging its economy into a slump. Migrant workers are leaving in large numbers. A friend told me that at least 300,000 people have left Kushan this year. Industrial growth brought Kushan its past glory, but it also planted the seeds of its decline. This issue isn't unique to Kushan. It's a common challenge for many industrial cities. If foreign investments and businesses continue withdrawing from Kushan and the greater Suzhou area, the resulting downturn could be even harsher than what Dongguan is experiencing. The decline in manufacturing has been particularly devastating for labor recruitment agents working for large factories. Recently, an agent in Wuhan urged people not to come to the city looking for jobs, as many major factories have already ceased operations. Don't bother coming to Wuhan anymore. Lenovo has shut down, Huaxing has shut down, Foxconn has shut down, Tianma has shut down, and Guangxun has also stopped operations. Most of these factories are completely closed. Auto parts factories like Hongtu and Dongfeng have stopped too. When it comes to food factories, only 3 Squirrels, the cigarette factory, and a few logistics companies are still hiring. But honestly, I wouldn't recommend you try them. Then again, maybe you should. If someone is still trying to trick you into coming, that might mean there's at least some work available. Recruitment agents have the clearest understanding of the realities of the job market, and their insights reveal just how dire the situation in China's manufacturing sector has become. The downturn in China's manufacturing industry stems not only from a lack of export orders, but also from weak domestic demand, a significant factor in the country's ongoing economic decline. Despite these challenges, Chinese authorities have yet to propose any effective solutions. On December 12th, the highly anticipated Central Economic Work Conference concluded. Many had hoped for new stimulus measures to address the economic crisis. However, the meeting delivered nothing more than the usual slogans, offering no concrete policies to drive economic recovery. Commentator Tsai Shen-kun, speaking with Radio Free Asia, remarked that the government has exhausted its economic policy toolkit. Over the years, Beijing has implemented a variety of measures, but these policies have been inconsistent and contradictory, yielding little success. Tsai argued that under Xi Jinping's leadership, prospects for economic improvement appear bleak, suggesting that China is heading towards a dead end. He added that the so-called 3 pillars of China's economy are crumbling, pushing the country closer to collapse. What's even more alarming is a looming combination of trade wars, technological disputes, and rising geopolitical risks. By 2025, China could face its most significant challenge yet, a renewed U.S.-China trade war under President Trump. If U.S. tariffs are raised to 60%, it could deal a fatal blow to China's manufacturing sector. Some analysts predict that 2025 might mark the year of China's complete economic breakdown. They believe the Chinese Communist Party's long-standing false narratives could finally be exposed, potentially signaling the party's downfall.